Hello there, one and all, and welcome to episode 324 of Love at First Scent with me, Persolaise, coming to you live from YouTube. Thank you very much for tuning in, whether you're watching live or you're watching the recording. If you haven't already subscribed to my channel, please do consider doing so, and please click on the little bell so that you get notifications of new videos. And if you would like to find out how you can support my work, you should be able to get information about my Ko-fi page in the video description below. So, huge thanks to people who have stuck around for this live following the other one that we did. That was quite lengthy. I know that many of you, this is the one that you've actually been waiting for, the latest from Chanel, except it's kind of not the latest. Well, it sort of is and it isn't. First comment for this one goes to Rich Mitch, who says hi, but Rachel is right there in the background saying hi as well. And Rich Mitch says, would anyone recommend Iris Nazarena from Aedis to Venustus? Well, I would 100%, but we won't get sidetracked. Okay, this is potentially a little bit sort of nerve-wracking, and I will unseal this in a moment. It is the extrait, the pure parfum, for so-called parfum version of Sycomore from Chanel. Little bit of background. Sycomore, as far as we're concerned, in the sort of modern age, emerged as an eau de toilette. I think I'm pointing at the right one. Yeah, an eau de toilette in 2006 when Chanel launched their high-end exclusive range, and then they moved over to EDPs, which I think a lot of people were a little bit upset about. But now all of the exclusives are eau de parfum, and I think that was in 2016 when that happened. And some of them are also available as extraits, quite a lot of them now actually, and this is the latest edition. Olivier Polge, current in-house nose at Chanel, has just done this one as an extrait, and it came out, I think, 2 months ago. There is actually a very, very old Chanel perfume called Sycomore, I think dating from around, I think 1930, I believe, and that's attributed to Ernest Beau, who was the chap who made the Chanels that so many of the ones that we know and love now, like Bois d'Azil and Number 5 and Number 22 and so on. But I think it's sort of safe to say that modern Sycomore is quite a different scent. Very, very, very highly regarded. A lot of people consider it to be the best from the exclusive range, and regular viewers will know that I've got something of a tricky relationship with it, because I adore it to smell, and I particularly think that its opening is just beyond magnificent. In terms of its structure, it's fairly simple because it's basically a sandalwood vetiver scent, and the opening hour when those two materials intermingle with each other and play this amazing tune together is just something else, because the sandalwood note that has been used certainly in the EDT is gorgeous, the quality of the vetiver is gorgeous, and then you get this amazing blend of the smokiness, rootiness, earthiness of the vetiver, supporting and being contrasted by the milky, creamy woodiness of the sandalwood. And it's just something else. And we may have a spray of the EDT and the EDP to compare. But vetiver is something of a love it or hate it ingredient in perfumery. And the more it develops, the swampier and murkier and sweatier to my nose it becomes. And I always get a kind of sense of overboiled onions, overboiled vegetables, overboiled celery, that kind of thing. And a lot of people use that word swampy, and I think it's as good a word as any. And then there comes a point where I just really, really, really can't take it anymore. There's something sulfurous about it as well, because vetiver does share a lot of sulfurous facets with materials like grapefruit. So on the rare occasions when I do wear Sycomore, I try to spray it on fabric because the development is slowed down, and the lack of body heat, I think, makes that final stage more palatable for me. But that is just me. I have this issue with Sycomore, but I'm very, very intrigued to find out what the extrait is going to be like. I guess it would be a betrayal of Sycomore if it didn't go down that route. Yeah, but let's find out. And I shall definitely apply some of this extrait on skin and also do some on the blotter. So here we go. Nubianet says, Sycomore was a duty-free splurge for me. By the way, can I just ask, because things seem to be looking different on my display here, are you seeing the things the right way around? Like, can you read this clearly, or is it mirror image for you? Not that it matters hugely, because it's not as though I'm going to be giving you a reading test, but things look different to me here. So anyway, it all looks good, says Herb. Okay, fine. So any Chanel extrait is always an exciting thing, isn't it? And no matter what I think of it, it will take pride of place in my collection. No, sorry, it will not take pride of place. It will join the others, the other extraits. There you go. There is still something special about getting one of these bottles, isn't it? Oh, thank you very much, Rich. I really love Sycomore in all forms, but struggle to justify the price for a vetiver when there are so many other greats out there. Yeah, and I think I did a vetiver video, and I seem to remember that I did not include Sycomore in the vetiver video, but somebody will correct me if I'm wrong. But thank you very much for that, sir. Oh, let's just do this. Okay, so need to unseal carefully. I tried to do this really gingerly because I don't like to detach the whole thing. I find Sycomore quite warm as far as vetivers go. Okay, we are in a little bit, I think, on the back of the hand, and then I will definitely do some on the blotter as well, because let's pop that there. See, ooh, but it's powderier. That's interesting. Gosh, that is interesting because it's completely recognizable Sycomore. That beautiful flirtatiousness between the sandalwood and the vetiver, which is, it's so hard to describe, but it's kind of like a shimmer of sensuality. It's so much about texture, this perfume, but very definitely a vanillic note, a sweetness, a powdery kind of sweetness. I wonder what effect that's going to have in the base. That's going to be really interesting to observe. What are people saying? I agree. After an hour, Sycomore smells very like Fat Electrician, says Eric, which is half the price. Olfactive Story says, I found it warmer and smoother than the EDP. I really prefer this version. We need to do a comparison, don't we? Lonely Under Rain says, vetiver as a raw material is complex. I feel if the perfumer is lazy, he or she can come up with a good vetiver fragrance. Yeah, it's hard to mess up, I guess, is what you're saying. Nubianet says, I bought vetiver from Chantecaille, which I enjoy very much. I seem to remember that was a very good vetiver. Is this like the original Sycomore or the EDP? This had no green tone, says Pradeep. No, you're right. It's going into sweeter territory. Did they kind of feel that maybe the original was a bit too harsh? Okay, right. Let's do comparisons. We can't not do comparisons. So I'm going to get 3 blotters. So let's do EDT. Let's label another one EDP. And I'll also do the X-ray one in a sec. So that's my EDT. This was actually the very first exclusive I bought, which is kind of ironic because it's one that I don't wear very often, but it was the very first one I bought from Bond Street in London. Okay, so this is the EDT. Yeah, it's significantly different. This is definitely got a stronger element of that licorice feel. I don't want to oversmell because I don't want to oversaturate my nose, but the EDT starts off a lot drier, a lot more bitter, a lot earthier, a lot rootier. Okay, let's go EDP. This is interesting. I was not expecting it to be quite so different. EDT was more mossy to me than the EDP. Yeah. Oh, yeah. You may be right. You may be right. I think I agree with you. So here's our EDP. Look at the color that 200 ml has gone. Yes, I know. I thought that. Hang on, I've just dropped the blotter. Apologies. EDP. EDP gentler, softer. So it's almost like maybe they've just, this is like on a spectrum where this is like your hardcore rooty vetiver. This one, maybe Chanel started thinking, oh, we need to make it a little bit more accessible. Maybe people are finding that a little bit too hardcore. And then this, which is Sycomore with a side helping of dessert. Very definitely vanillic and maybe more cedary. Okay, and let's do a third blotter for the extrait. Maybe this is going to be the one that I will enjoy wearing the most. Let's see. I have got the briefest of press releases as well. It's barely more than a couple of paragraphs. Is your 200 ml bottle the EDT, says Andy? Yes, yeah. And I love the color that it's gone. That's often a sign that actually there are actually some naturals in there. And so here's the extrait. From dry to sweet and from green to woody, I guess. I know. Or maybe balsamic. Maybe balsamic. Okay, extrait. Yeah, definitely. Sweeter, gentler, more rounded. And it's like a whole new element has been brought in. The EDT and the EDP, they may have different levels of softness, but they are still very much about vetiver and sandalwood. Whereas this one has actually brought a whole new player into the mix, it feels like, or taken that idea from the EDP and moved it along a step. They're markedly different from each other, significantly different from each other. Where's the little press blurb that I mentioned? So, for this exclusive creation, Chanel in-house perfumer creator Olivier Polge composed Sycomore Extrait, a woody fragrance with notes of vetiver, cedar, and vanilla. It leaves a powerful and enveloping trail, amplifying its sensuousness, paired with notes of iris and subtly enhanced by accents of leather, vanilla, and vetiver. And that's it. And then there's also a little bit about a special coffret that they did, a limited edition coffret that they did. But that's not about the perfume. And that's all they've given us, actually. But I'm kind of glad they mentioned vanilla. So it is beautiful. It is unquestionably, I do think it is a beautiful, beautiful piece of work. I've just never been able to pull it off, except maybe in this version, Sycomore and I may be able to become friends. Definitely will be doing a blotter update as soon as I can, but it probably won't be until tomorrow now. So, phew, I'm so glad it is nowhere near being a disaster. And yeah, interesting. Well done, Chanel, for giving us these three variations on a theme, these three different inflections of the idea. Wouldn't you love to smell the original 1930 Sycomore? I would so love to find out what it was like. Only thing is the price of these is bonkers, says Pradeep. Yes, but at least for 15 mils of extrait, this one is kind of standard Chanel extrait price because this one is just over £200, which I think is kind of what they retail at the moment. Where are the blotter updates, says Rachel. I've never been able to find them. Oh gosh, okay. Sorry about that. Where I put the blotter updates is in the video description. So if you're watching the video, whether you're watching on a mobile device or you're watching on a laptop, if you kind of go right below the video, you should start seeing some text that gives you a description of the video. And you usually need to click on like a kind of arrow or something saying read more, and then it brings up the whole of the rest of the text where you get timestamps, etc. And that is where I go in and I type out a blotter update, usually sort of 24 hours after the broadcast of the video. So yeah, that's where, and if I say I'm going to do them, I have never ever not done one that I've said that I'm going to do. Sometimes maybe a little bit longer than a day later, but usually in about 24 hours. So do look up in the video description. But thank you very much. And oh, S. Omar says a 31 Rue Cambon extrait would be great. Yeah, it would. It would actually. You're right. That's a good note on which to end. Thank you very much for watching. Stay tuned to social media for details of more videos. There are quite a few interviews coming up before we sort of take our Yuletide break, but I will let you know all about those in due course. Take care now. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.